Hey Bulldogs, I'm Sam Hobart here with Johan Rodriguez Vieira, and welcome back to another episode of Code Blue Now. Welcome back, Bulldogs. And to start off the show, today we have Grand March at 5:15. Anyone is welcome to attend, but those who are in the Grand March must be there no later than 5 p.m. And I can't wait to see everyone all dressed up.
I couldn't agree more. And switching gears, anyone who is participating in sports next year should have their permission slip signed by May 24th.
Staying on the topic of sports, the varsity baseball team had 3 games this week, winning the first one on Monday, 16-14 in a thrilling 6-inning comeback. Then on Tuesday, they traveled to West Bridgewater, and after knocking in a few runs, they ended up losing the game 13-14. Then yesterday, varsity baseball played against Westport, and the Bulldogs lost 9-2.
And varsity softball was on fire this week, winning all 3 games. They beat West Bridgewater 6-5, Blue Hills 12-8, and also played against Westport yesterday, winning 16-4. And continuing on the topic of sports, Chuck has a compelling story about a football player here at HMHS.
Resilience. The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Ethan Carey Prendable had played baseball and football up until his 8th grade year, where he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. After years of not participating in both baseball and football at HMHS, Ethan adapted to the difficult circumstances to spring him back in shape for the 2022 baseball season, where he then met with head coach Walsh about the possibility of getting back on the gridiron.
Well, he played baseball for me in the spring, and then I asked him, why don't you come out for football? And because he's a good athlete, great kid, great attitude, and he came out, and it was great.
After the 2022 football season, head coach Walsh nominated Ethan for the Paul Costello Award.
I was kind of like, I didn't really know anything about it. Mr. Walsh said he would submit my stuff.
Well, I was psyched. This is a big award. I know the coach who it's named after. When I was at Blue Hills, I was there for 13, 14 years. We had 3 or 4 kids get this. This is a real big award. And I wish more coaches would nominate their kids to get it because, you know, overcoming some of these things. And other kids see that and it helps them, hey, I can do this.
Coach had said that he nominated him, and I was proud just at the fact of the nomination. And then Ethan came home from school one day and said, I won. And I was like, oh, I'm so proud.
Just his attitude, I think from what he has gone through, kind of carried over as, in football, it's difficult. The biggest part of football is showing up every day.
I just would like to thank Mr. Walsh for nominating me for this award and being my coach through all this.
And I think from what he had gone through, it was easy for him to do that. And I think, as a captain, that kind of came through, and the other kids saw that, his dedication and whatnot. So
I don't think there's any better feeling to have as a mother to watch your child overcome and be acknowledged for the struggle that he's had.
Without adversity, we are not challenged, and Ethan Carey Prendable was required to adapt. For Code Blue Now, I'm Chuck LaRossi. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Chuck. But switching to the topic of testing, sophomores have Math MCAS testing Tuesday, May 16th, and Wednesday, May 17th.
Also, reminder to seniors that your senior contract is also due next Wednesday, May 17th.
And this week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and all of us at Code Blue would like to say a great thank you to our teachers. You inspire us to follow our dreams, and we admire you for that.
And with other news, Kai brings us a story on a special athlete whose life turned into a miraculous comeback.
On the surface, Julian is your average high school basketball player.
4 years old, put a basketball in his hands, and he fell in love with the sport, so we decided to keep him going with that.
Something that inspired me was probably like my uncle and my dad playing. They're the big guys. I always wanted to be like them and beat them when I get older.
What makes you a valuable player on the court is that he just has so much vision, IQ. He can dribble the ball, he can shoot. He's just all-around player.
As his story unfolds, the journey he took to get where he is today wasn't as easy as it seems.
Doctors came in and asked if we knew about the scoliosis. We're like, yeah, we know about scoliosis, but we knew about it since about 6 months old. It was very minor. We would go to the doctors and they said that because it was so mild that we wouldn't have to worry about anything of him growing up in the future of it getting any worse, but it actually got worse.
March 1st marked the beginning of Julian's battle against scoliosis and his first surgery known as the Halo procedure.
It was where they took pins and put it right here, and it helped stretch my spinal cord straight. March 19th, the day I had my spinal fusion, the surgery was supposed to probably be about 8 to 12 hours. It ended up being 14 to 18 hours.
Julian's surgeries didn't go as smoothly as doctors had planned and left them with little hope of his recovery.
I waited probably about 5 days to get into the rehab facility, and that was where I was told I wouldn't be able to walk again. The doctors also told me to look into adaptive sports, and basically saying that they honestly didn't think I'd be able to walk again and to just stick in a wheelchair.
The news from the doctors wasn't the outcome that Julian or his family expected, but was something they knew he could overcome.
Julian is a strong kid. He's always been a strong kid. He's always been, a fighter.
One thing I did do was not give up and know what I can do and not let anyone else tell me what I can and can't do. They told me I would have to do some PT and a lot of training. And I told them to hurry up and get the doctor because I need to get back out there.
Even with all odds against him, Julian and his family never gave up hope.
2 years ago, you're told you're not going to be able to walk and you're a state champ. It's unbelievable.
After winning the state championship and after conquering what I conquered, honestly, anything's just possible.
Julian Sestash is a fighter. He overcame the impossible and conquered more than what anyone could have ever imagined. This is his comeback.
What a great story to showcase what an amazing comeback.
I couldn't agree more, Johan.
And earlier this week, the track team traveled to Southeastern for the league meet. We wish a huge congratulations to freshmen Nia Baker, Jada Gideon, Gracie Brilliant, and Madison DePina, who came in first place in the 4x100 meter relay.
Nia also came in second place in the 100-meter race. Way to go, Bulldogs.
Attention to those students who are between the ages of 14 through 19. Starting May 15th, teens can work out for free all summer long at Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness is also giving away $200,000 to high schools and students. Teens who register can help win a grant for their school and participate in a video contest for a chance to win a scholarship. Don't wait, pre-register today. And up next, some of you may have noticed that our baseball field has changed a little.
And Jordan brings us the scoop on the face behind it.
On May 6th, 2023, the Holbrook baseball field was named after a man known as Bill Linus. His impact has been felt greatly by many, especially one man who was able to begin a dream career because of this special human being.
After a few years of raising my kids, I wanted to become a referee. And my wife suggested, you should go talk to Bill Linus. I had already known what Bill had done with the state championships and the town, what he did for the town, and how important he was to Holbrook High. Of my 33 years officiating, I was on his crew for 20 years. Great guy, great official. Like I said, he knew everybody everywhere. You couldn't stop, you'd go someplace and where's Bill Linus? How's Bill Linus doing? He was my mentor, he was my teacher, and I felt really strongly about becoming an official because of him. It was that fatherly input that he had for me, again, guiding me through good times and bad. And then he just became, he became part of our family too.
Although known for his incredible coaching career, Linus built a connection with his players and students that is irreplaceable.
Way back in the day, probably in the 50s and 60s, when I was playing Little League Baseball, that you'd find him up at the field talking to coaches, talking to players. And every weekend that during the baseball season, he had an informal little come on down and hang out and let's see what we can do. And he brought some of his high school players with him. And the kids, his high school players absolutely loved that. Some of the kids that came out those Saturdays with him and his players played for him later on in life. And you saw the 4 state championships. And those were huge in this town. Kids on the fire truck, running up to the old high school. And it was just something special for this town. And Bill was proud as punch. I'll never forget him sitting in the middle of the ladder truck, big smile on his face, with the hat on backwards, waving to everybody as they came through Holbrook School up to the high school.
Linus's impact on Holbrook, Callahan, and so many others will be remembered forever.
His legacy is going to remain in Holbrook. I mean, I counted 122 of his former players that were there. And some of them brought their kids, and 2 of them brought their grandkids. This meant so much to me to see all these players whose lives he touched come out for this dedication. Bill was as I said in the field day, Bill was a legend. Bill's favorite word was, sounds like a plan to me, and sounded like a plan that things went so well on Saturday. So that's my story about Bill Linus.
For Code Blue Now, I'm Jordan Chaffee. Back to you in the studio.
Holbrook has such a rich history, and it's always important to commemorate those who are crucial parts of it.
I'm just glad our field is just that much more special.
But in other important news, all those participating in Grand March should report to the cafeteria after our show for rehearsal.
Another exciting event that happened in our school this week was the Credit for Life Fair. Let's take it over to Malachi, who details the fair.
This Thursday, seniors were called down to the gym to participate in the Credit for Life Fair. Credit for Life is an annual event hosted by HMHS for seniors to simulate life as a 25-year-old in their chosen profession. They faced tough challenges and had to decide what the right financial decisions were for their own life.
Seniors are entering the real world and things are a lot different. Budgets are going to be changing. Going to college, trying to get jobs, and kind of where your money is spent is going to look different. So I think it's important to know the value of a dollar and hard work.
While many might think Credit for Life is just a simple game, in fact, it truly teaches the importance of budgeting and knowing how to spend money wisely.
Yeah, I actually most definitely got a better understanding of money and everything, because I think it's very hard when you're a high school student and you, for the most part, don't pay for your living expenses or your phone bill in most cases. So I believe that this has given me a better understanding of what it will be like when I'm fully dependent on myself in order to pay all of those things.
I just want everyone to kind of recognize that it's not always going to be easy, but with hard work and with kind of focus, anything's possible. And the big takeaway is to save as much as you can now.
The goal of Credit for Life is to help seniors transition into independence and make sure they are prepared for whatever life has to throw their way. This has been Malachi Desiree reporting for Code Blue Now. Back to you in the studio.
That event was pretty fun. Sad that I won't be able to go next year.
But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all my juniors there. But that wraps up this week's show. I'm Johan Rodriguez Vieira.
And I'm Sam Hobart. See you next Friday.